You welcome back, my friends. Skirt.
Whenever people want to talk about diversity when it comes to their favorite medias, they oftentimes forget that maybe, just maybe, the things that they're looking for were actually right in front of them, but just because of bad writing and because of studio mandates that we do not get what we deserve. Welcome back, motherfuckers, to a brand new installment of The Pitch, the show where I just talk to you guys about certain stuff. Could be a TV show, could be a movie, could be about a comic book, could be about a lot of motherfucking things, baby. And then we just, shoot the shit, and then we just, see what we can fix about it. Why am I so hyper up about this? And am I boosting up the audio to sound more illustrious with my vocals on this brand new microphone? I might be. But that's not the reason why we're here. We are here because I want to talk to you guys about my small issue when it comes to Bleach. When it comes to the factors of how Tight Kubo could not do the stuff that you could clearly see were elements that were brought about for a storyline. If you get what I mean, that would be very helpful. But I'm just going to break this up in parts where I talk about characters, plot threads, and story arcs in its own unique capacity, where this one, for all you anime fans out there, because I know there are some of you out there that still exist, we're going to talk about Chad and the wasted potential that came from this powerhouse that would have honestly grown into something better had we done something more. But not in the way that you think. My pitch is solely going to be what would happen if Chad's development from the Soul Society to Hueco Mundo and the Arrancar's arc was more on par with what they've done with Ichigo Kurosaki and Uryu Ishida. Allow me to start explaining. So, Chad's powers look as if they could just be Fullbringer because of the Fullbringer arc being what it is, a reflective thing of nature that was brought about by the Hokyoku, if not from Chad's own development period. That is for sure, but I believe from how Tight Kubo himself developed the whole thing, if you really look at the context clues, Chad's own ancestry tied into more of the South American variety with how it does stuff spiritually, thanks to the calaveras and other spirits of the dead. Maybe Chad's whole development involving him being part hollow, if not part Arrancar and or Espada, would have been more interesting. Here's the thing I'm just trying to get into firstly. Chad as a character is a lot more interesting if given more time to develop a very focal storyline, and also given the proper motivation to be a more realized character. We've seen that in a lot of different things for anime, but not about minority characters unless it's in media focused around minority characters. I'm looking at Jet from Cowboy Bebop, I'm looking at the Cannon Busters cast, I'm looking at Megaloboxing. There are markets for minority heroes in Japanese animation, so why wasn't that for Chad? This is the whole big premise where I'm trying to say that Hueco Mundo and the Arrancar arc would have been perfect because, and just follow me on this, Chad's development for his powers not only go from him being probably what would be known as the third strongest in the cast, probably underneath Uryu Ishida, in the same way that Ichiro Oda has made the Monster Trio. This would have been a good time to make what would be Bleach's own Squad of Destruction. Making Chad the third most powerful person in that roster probably would have gone a lot better in that whole capacity. You have a human that is also a Shinigami, and a Quincy, and a Hollow, and a Fullbringer. That's also potentially someone that's tied to the Soul King. It's kind of still up in the air on that capacity. You have a Quincy, who is also technically related to the main character, But what about a human who has a lineage with the, I want to say hollows, if not just the Rancars and Espadas from the original stuff before Sosuke Aizen's whole ascension to power when he took the Hokyoku to then go to Hueco Mundo? That whole beautiful thing ends up becoming a lot richer in an experience of the longer he's in Hueco Mundo, the more he actually activates a lot of strengths and abilities, where he's not just taken out willy-nilly by an Espada. Like, let's do a different pair-up than number, I want to say 5, because 5 is Norichida. No, I keep forgetting number 5 because he does not interest me at all. Instead of having Big Boy, let's instead throw in, I'd say, Yami as a rematch. We have number 10, or just numero cero, as the benchmark for Chad to become a lot stronger and a lot tougher. Yami is not as powerful as, say, Uryu or Coyote Stark, Tia Haribel, or the Bone Man himself, whose name I keep fucking forgetting because Espada number 2 also bores the shit out of me. We have it where it's Chad versus one of the more physically powerful ones, where instead of it being numero 10 is numero cero, he's not going to be as powerful as Ukiora or as Coyote or as Haribel, because Haribel becomes the ruler of Hueco Mundo, so power scale could be damned in that whole regard. We have it where Chad is fighting him at probably, I would say, the mid-tier point where his powers are active, and his development has it where his own abilities end up shifting and turning and growing and expanding into the perfect fusion of what would be a subtle hint towards the future Fullbringer arc in a more organic way, and then also showcasing that Chad's lineage when it comes to the Espada or Erancars could be more prevalent, as my executive producer is now walking away saying my job is done. Thank you, buddy. That whole thing sends up a lot of beautiful sentiment of even someone that is human could still be a beautiful homage, since Bleach in and of itself is technically a successor to the Yu Yu Hakusho brand. Yes, I know that there's Hunter x Hunter, which is the series that's supposed to be the actual successor to Yu Yu Hakusho, but the Spirit Detective going to a substitute Soul Reaper as its own spiritual successor for the big three of modern anime, that seems more prevalent to this conversation. So how does that change stuff for Chad? Well, like I was saying, his development period of him being one of the 3 top tier people in the Squad of Destruction sets up a different precedence for how to handle storyline or story arc. Like, the Fullbringer arc doesn't have to just fall on Ichigo's whole shoulders. Probably still doing the whole thing about the manipulation tactics from Homeboy with the sword, and then trying to still go into different effects on that whole chord, but making it so Chad is more present rather than just being a side character to Ichigo's story makes Bleach more of a fleshed out thing rather than just solely relying on the squad captains to carry the plot, because they weren't what fans were really hoping for when time went on. They were hoping more from Ichigo's more capable friends that were traveling with him because they wanted to be useful and be by his side. It brings up that bigger precedence where the moment we go from that to then go into the 1,000-Year Blood War, Chad is more of a visible candidate to do bigger and better things when we go to Hueco Mundo, where instead of having Ichigo have to deal with the Quincy there, we have Chad who can now fight on equal levels with the more powerful characters and can actually stand up to a Quincy of that capacity, even if Ichigo has to step in a little bit, Chad still does most of the fucking work. It still showcases that without Ichigo there, other characters can handle business. They can do more than just being side characters put in the background to make the main character seem cool. Because that's still a good thing about storytelling, that you don't have to just solely rely on for the rule of cool to carry you over, like you have nothing better to do. But I digress, because I'm releasing this the day after April Fool's Day, because I don't want people to think this is a fucking joke. Alright, so that's just the whole big spiel, babies. That's just how I'm fucking feeling right now. I'm a little bit on that whole spicy Chad, sharing my opinions on Chad first and foremost, where the second time we're going to be talking about Bleach, I will be talking about Orihime Inoue, where at that time I will be doing another deep dive on my personal note to remember all of the names of all the fucking characters in Bleach, cause there are so many to fucking remember. I am trying my damnedest. Stop telling me that I need to rewatch the anime or reread the manga. I fucking know. So I will get to that. I will try to get to that. I will also try to just look through the wiki and probably read the light novel to try and remember some shit because it's been a long fucking time. Anywho, next video I will do, though, is less about this anime, but more for when May hits. We're going to be talking about a classic children's anime for anime. I think I just had a stroke because that was the dumbest thing I've ever fucking said. Where's that intro? Wait, where's that outro? The intro already happened. What time is it? What's happening? Have I lost my mind?
Boom, you feel it when I walk in the room. The shiver up your spine as I loom. The string puller like harps that's keeping y'all in tune.